Hey everyone, it's Elle Hayes. Welcome back to my channel. This has been the most times that I've reshot a video thus far in my YouTube endeavors. And that's primarily because I'm creating a consistent segment here on this channel, and there are a lot of pieces that I've been pulling apart and realized that could be its own separate video. I shouldn't include that information here, and there's another entire series that I have planned as well that's in the works. And because of all of that, it's too many ideas in my brain at the same time, and they're fighting to be said aloud. Yeah, that's what's happening up here. So this segment and series is going to be titled, Don't Try to Make It in Music. Yes, it's clickbaity. Obviously, I assume most of you, including myself, want a career in the music industry, and I'm obviously not opposed to that. These are just going to be some ideas and reasons why I think it may be more difficult now than ever to make it in music. And that might seem crazy to some of you, but I hope you stick around for the segments that I will do. I have a lot planned. I've done research on this topic for various companies before, and I'm not going to act like I'm an expert in this field. Clearly, I wouldn't be in the position I'm at now if I were, but I have a lot of experience, especially for my age, and a lot of variety of experiences. And I have a lot of connections that can help fill in the gaps where I don't know as much. And maybe some of you would like to be included. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. We're going to start with the first topic for this series, and it's going to be saturation, and how I think this day and age has an incredible overload of saturation and has been such a negative impact on this industry. We're in the digital age. That's come with positives and negatives for the music industry. That'll be its own video. But to quickly point, when you think of saturation, what's your knee-jerk response? What's the first image that pops in your head? For me, for some reason, it's back to middle school science class, where we learned about when one area has a high concentration of sodium, then the particles move away from it or towards it, or see, I didn't really pay attention, but that's the image in my head, let me tell you.
It's osmosis I was thinking of. I'm a genius, and it's when water moves towards the sodium. Really butchered that, right there in the moment.
For the music, though, what do you think of when you think of a saturated market? Well, with social media, there were many positives that came with it, in terms of artists having the ability to voice themselves to people who wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to hear them at such an early stage in their career. Yes, that's great, but think of the hundreds and thousands of people uploading music right now to various platforms, YouTube included. With all of that mass of people posting simultaneously, it's kind of hard to weed through what you're not interested in, as a consumer even, to try and find smaller artists that you can get excited about. Odds are you're mostly seeing those that are already signed, so they're going to be at the top of the totem pole and not mixed in amongst the mess of everyone else trying to be heard. And you could argue that that was always an issue. I mean, even without social media, you would have artists trying to get a voice. So maybe you'd say, well, at least they have it now. And yes, there is some truth to that. But the barrier to entry is now so low as a musician that everyone is in music. Everyone's an artist, everyone's a musician. I would also say that there are other parts of the music industry that bleeds into, where the barrier of entry is now so low because of innovation. For instance, as a producer, that everyone now qualifies, I'll use loosely, as that part of the music industry. very difficult for anyone to be seen without a huge team behind you, and it makes the market very clouded and kind of devalues those around you because it's so easy for you to step out there and say, hey, here I am. You have the oversaturation on media, where I'm sure most of you are completely annoyed by getting invites from bands you listen to that are probably your friends, actually.
That's me thinking about the fact that I do the same thing.
And you probably mute their posts because of how often it happens. I think with this saturation, you've also kind of lost the magic of just stumbling upon a band. Odds are it's not happening as often. You're being bombarded with this information constantly that you're kind of sick of it. I think that's one of the negative aspects of the saturation on social media of all of these artists. You then think of the saturation physically. We're not just having this problem in the digital sense. Although it's bad, we can at least turn our phones off, right? But in terms of a physical sense, we've created this mentality in the music industry that you must live in one of these various locations in order to truly pursue and show your seriousness in wanting to be a part of the music industry. I'm sure you immediately thought of at least one or two of the places that are the hubs of music. I'm talking about in North America. So you have LA, New York City, Nashville, and then to an extent you have Atlanta. All of those are considered hubs for the music industry, and everyone feels the need to move there to show that they're ready to make it, that this is what they want more than anything in the world. They're willing to give up everything to do it. And then they don't realize, oh, I'm surrounded by other people in the exact same position as me, fighting for the exact same roles, looking to get the attention of the exact same people. There are too many of you in the exact same area. How do you stand out in a place like that? And yeah, maybe you could argue that if you do happen to stand out there, that has to say something about you, right? It's a pretty big deal to stand out amongst all of your peers that are fighting for the exact same team, that are all there for the exact same reason. But I think we've created a mentality that was unnecessary. Especially with the digital age, it's even more confusing to me why people still believe that you need to live in these hubs to make it. There are networking opportunities, don't get me wrong, easy access to people in your field, opportunities to collab with other people in a very accessible way. Of course. But does it really make sense for everyone to move to the same areas when we have the opportunity, because of technology, to still get all those things done without oversaturating the area? I'm pretty sure, I think it was Nashville or something. It was one of the hubs, but I'm pretty sure it was Nashville. I saw an article, I'll have to link it below, that said, can everyone in Nashville please stop telling their friends to move to Nashville? And it specifically had to do with the oversaturation of people trying to get in the music industry. It's not really helping anyone when you all decide to move to the same place. I think it's the same way I feel on social media when everyone posts to the same groups. There are groups for musicians online. I'm in one, I think that's called Pop Punk. Defend Pop Punk? It's gotta be that one. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, but there are people who post their own stuff in there. I know they get taken, I'm pretty sure in that group they'd get taken down, and there are various groups I'm in within the music industry, and people will over-promote themselves. Yes, there are rules on pages, but even the ones where you are allowed to post, when I've posted on the promos pages, I find that it's not really getting clicks. It's not really making people want to go and check out my band, because I'm one of 50 other people that have posted today about wanting you to check out their band. It's just not as intriguing as it once was when you walked around, you saw a flyer of a band or a sticker slapped somewhere and you decided to go check them out. And I think the main last point I want to touch on for saturation is I think it's kind of pushed music to lose a bit of its magic. Because everywhere you go, you will find a plethora of artists. So to wrap this all up, because of the saturation, I think there's a huge struggle with getting lost in the sea of people around you who are vying for the same opportunities you are. This is by no means going to actually stop anyone from following their passions. I would hope it wouldn't anyway. But this is going to end up being a series of topics I think that are important to acknowledge, especially if you want to go into this field. And I'm going to keep this title, despite it being clickbait deterrent, because I think it's necessary to realize that these are important issues, and if you're not aware of them and you don't take them seriously, I think it can negatively impact you. I hope you like this video. I promise I will have more out shortly that will help lengthen the time of these, but to start it off, I just wanted to go over a quick snippet of how saturation impacts this field. I hope you like this. Leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you're new here, come join us. It's a good time. And I'll see you in the next video.